For level 4, we've been given more than just the variable squared. Instead, we have an expression that's been squared. But our process is going to remain the same. We want to get everything except these parentheses moved to the other side. So we are going to first divide by 3 on both sides. Many students are tempted to try to multiply that 3 inside because you've been taught to distribute when you have parentheses. But if we follow our order of operations, distribution is multiplication. But I have to take care of an exponent first. An exponent comes before multiplication. So instead, we'll divide by 3 on both sides to get rid of the 3 in front. Then we can square root both sides of the equation to give us a plus 7, because the square root of something squared cancels out the square and the square root. But we need to put a plus or minus in front of our answer. Finally, we have to subtract 7 because our goal is to get this a by itself. So when I subtract 7 from both sides, that negative 7 comes in the front, then plus or minus 6. Let's take a look at example 1b. We're still going to divide by 7 on both sides. And that gives me b minus 5 quantity squared equals 7. Now we can get rid of that square by square rooting both sides, leaving b minus 5 on the left side. And on the right side, I'll need to put plus or minus square root of 7. Now in both of these problems, if I were to try to do a factor tree or a factor ladder, I wouldn't have had enough pairs to try to come out of the radical. 7, for example, is prime in its own right, so there's nothing that can come out of this radical either. Add 5 to both sides, so b is equal to, remember the 5 goes first, then the plus or minus the square root of 7. Let's take a look at example 2a. We'll divide by the 12 first, and that gives me just c minus 11 squared and 0 on the right. And we know that when I take the square root of both sides and it's 0, I don't need my plus or minus. So I can add 11 to both sides and get that c is just one solution, 11. Example 2b. We'll need to divide by negative 4 on both sides. D plus 8 squared equals negative 6. And when I try to square root both sides here, I have the square root of a negative number. And we know that to be no real solution because I haven't learned how to solve that yet.